he's like, okay, I don't think it's going to work for me to start out. So we literally were like, well, just get a Blue Yeti. You have a laptop, get a webcam, you know, and there you have a portable studio.
Welcome to the Whissel Way podcast. This is the podcast dedicated to real estate agents on helping you with system support and structure to really streamline your business. Today I am here with my guest host. We call him Tomcat Thomas Conyers.
Hello.
I was hoping you'd say something because you waved. Those of you that are watching this on YouTube saw Tom wave. Those of you that are listening to it on your favorite podcast app did not see that. So today we are not working with Kyle today. I brought Tom in. Tom is my other media and marketing member here on the team. There are two of us full-time for the Whissel staff. And today I wanted to do something a little different and do some behind the scenes. So the goal for this episode is really to dive down on what we're doing for our podcast. We started really basic. We're working our way up. So I wanted to kind of run through that process, show what gear we're using, what gear we started with, and some of the settings that we use, because Tom and I and Kyle kind of worked for a minute before we found the settings that we liked. If you guys like what you hear and you want to learn more information that is coming like this, come check us out on thewhisselway.com. That will give you the opportunity to join our Facebook group, to subscribe to us on YouTube, and to listen to our podcast, as well as find out about upcoming events we're hosting. The next one, if you're listening to this as it comes out, the next one coming up is in March 2020 in San Diego, our Media Mayor Mastermind. So, all that being said, let's get into kind of the podcast. And actually, I guess before we break down what we're using, I want to break down the gear here and also the back-end stuff. I kind of want to break down. Tom is in charge. This is his project. I said, hey, look, do you want to own this, or do you want to just be a part of this? He said, give it to me. I want this. So kind of, Tom, talk about who our audience is and kind of what our goal of this podcast is.
For sure. So I sat down with you and Kyle, and we talked about what we want our audience to be focused on. So our main audience is agents, right?
Real estate agents. Mortgage agents. Basically anyone that in that real estate realm.
Right. I would say, and also trying to get so agent tips, and then we tend to focus on broad things, right? But our niche is video.
Yep.
I would say that's where our expertise is, even though Kyle's very knowledgeable on all of it. What was the other questions? So that's kind of our audience that we focus on.
How often do we put these out?
How often we put them out? So if you're doing a podcast, weekly is king, right? It's kind of like the same with video. If you're not on a schedule releasing on a time where someone can expect you to do anything, you're not going to stay top of mind. So we release this every Friday, the audio version Fridays at 10 a.m. Onto our distribution platform. And then we have a video version that would come out on Saturday, and then we have a widget that comes out the following week.
So you talked about our audio distribution platform. What do we use?
So what we really like is a service called Podbean. They do have a free service, so it's free. You can upload and get an RSS feed. That's the URL code that you use to submit your podcast to iTunes, Spotify, and all those things. So it auto-populates that for you.
So we don't have to upload to iTunes, then Spotify, then podcasts, then I don't know what else there is.
Pocket Cast, you have me on.
So we don't have to upload them all individually. We have to set that up once, and then once we upload, it goes and goes and goes.
Yeah, and then we have the basic paid version is what we use, and the benefits with that is you get a little bit more analytics, so you kind of get to see what episodes are doing really well, like what topics, what times are getting downloaded, so you can kind of focus on okay, we're doing really good on Saturdays at 10 a.m. because, for some reason that's when it goes out live on iTunes. But also a really big part on that is we could schedule our posts, which we really like doing because it lets us get a kind of ahead and, make sure everything's done in a timely manner.
And the analytics are great too, because not only can we see when they populate, but we can say, oh, we got a really big spike here. I wonder what happened here, and kind of go back through it.
Yeah. It also shows you where your main audience is, right? So it'll break it down geographically geographically.
Yep.
But then also break down on what services you're on, where your main downloads are coming from. So like our podcast is mainly downloaded on like Apple products, like so iTunes, iWatches. There's another one that's like a weird. I had to look it up what it was.
Yeah, it's like the iTunes store and then like Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
And just like aren't they the same? But it breaks it up.
But it breaks down into different things. So that's kind of cool because then you can see where you want to push and get your reviews or your stars and all those things.
Cool. Okay, so we distribute the full audio version that goes out live Friday morning at 10.
Yes.
Saturday at what time?
9 a.m. for the video version.
Okay, and that goes out the full version on YouTube.
Yes.
The Whissel Widget of the week, so that's the last 5 minutes or so of the show, goes out on Monday.
Monday or Tuesday is when I like to get it out, yeah.
And then we also put that widget of the week on, this is my kind of side of it, Facebook in our Whissel Way group, and also on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Netflix now.
That'd be cool if it was on Netflix.
Yeah. So yeah, for those of you guys that are listening to this, obviously you're getting the back end here. For those of you that are watching, you're noticing we are in a little different location. We are in my green screen studio here in the office. You know what? I'm going to take a picture right here because right here it looks super clean.
Oh no. So like, yeah, when I zoom in on you can't see me right now because I'm
I
zoomed
see
on you, but like, yeah, it's like perfectly green, but
I want to take a picture of the camera and I'll send this to you so you can put it in the YouTube version.
Oh yeah, so you can
see. This is what we're looking at. So it looks super clean and tidy, but that is not the person I am. Okay, so
talk about equipment that we use?
Not yet.
Okay.
Talk about one of the other things we don't want to decide on. So, okay, we thought about audience. Is it consumer-based or agent-based? We went agent-based, and obviously you want to pick one specific audience. If you say, oh, I want everyone to listen to it, no one's going to listen to it. Think about if you're watching if your favorite channel on TV showed football followed by makeup channel followed by women's shoes followed by men's razors. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right? Pick an audience and cater to that audience. So we talked about that. We talked about where we're going to put it. We talked about audio and video. Now let's talk a little bit about the time. We chose a 15, 20-minute segment. Talk a little bit about the different lengths podcasts go and why kind of we went that route.
Yeah. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, as you know. Podcasts is my thing. And I found like a show kind of like this where you're trying to give information and kind of be, topical, like that sweet 15 to 25 minute range is a really good, good length. That's like an episode you can throw on when you get into your car, drive to work, and you finish it, right? Like it's just something good, digestible like content.
And in San Diego, everything is about a 20-minute drive.
Right.
Even no matter where you go, 20 minutes is nice.
Yeah, and when you start, and like when you have those hour and a half podcasts and stuff like that, you have
Joe
Rogan, it's like 4 hours. But those tend to be more like conversational or scripted or kind of like, like talk showy, where our show is more, like I said, we have a direct purpose. We're talking about these topics. We want to give you the information in a concise way so you can digest, and then go on about your day.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, 15, 20 minutes is what we liked. I feel like shorter than that it's hard. Again, if you listen to it in the car, it's too short to get going. I don't like having to skip through each ones as I'm listening to new ones in the car.
Yeah. And I feel like 10 minutes, I would like to see Bryan and Kyle try to do a 10-minute podcast. I don't think it's possible.
Not going to happen. Okay, so that's the end of our show. I'm just kidding. We did it in 10.
10, yes.
Okay, so let's talk about gear. I love gear. You love gear. Again, when you see this picture, pop up the picture. You're going to see I have an office literally full of gear. Let's talk about what we started with, why we started with that, and now to where we are now.
Okay. Do you want the real reason why we started with the Blue Yeti?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
I want to be real.
So when we were talking about and sitting down and discussing what we kind of want to do for the podcast, I have had experience producing several podcasts, and what I used was microphones kind of like this, on stands similar like this, but then I had a Yamaha like switchboard, and I would either run that to my laptop or record it to an external recorder. And when when we're pricing that stuff out and seeing if we were going to do this show, it's expensive. There is a cost, right? To go immediately to that level.
It's not free.
No.
And I mean, your setup that you have at home, you built a couple years ago.
Yeah.
when you paid for, now things are getting cheaper and better as we go, but you paid what, 1,500, $2,000 for that setup?
With the microphones and everything, yeah, probably around there. So with that, like when I gave them the list, like, hey, this is what kind of it is and everything. They kind of came back to me and were like, well, let's see if there's an audience for this, right? Like, why are we going to drop all this money, do all this stuff, and like all of a sudden never use it again, which I totally agree with. So that led us to using this little guy right here, which is a Blue Yeti.
Link is going to be in the description.
Yeah, we'll drop a link. It's a great microphone on the back here, which I really like. I don't know if you can see it here. Probably not, but maybe I'll take a picture and put it up for you guys so you can see.
On YouTube's.
It has controlled gain, which is basically kind of the level your voice comes into the microphone.
The loudness, the volume.
But it has different pickup patterns, which I really like. So that was really good. I just literally plopped that between you guys, and then I would plug this USB cord into my laptop, and the program I used to record was Adobe Audition, and you can record straight into the program, and that's how we did it for the first.
Now, there's another program out there that's free, Audacity.
Audacity.
That's another option. So the Blue Yeti mic, the nice thing is Kyle has one, I have one. He bought an extra one. So we already had the gear that we needed.
Right.
They run about $100. I've seen them as low as like 75 and as high as like 120. They have different colors, all sorts of things, but about $100. Mm-hmm. Talk about the camera we use.
So the camera we use, I think we've talked about it before. It's called the Mevo. It's a really cool camera. It's one camera. We have it attached to a Mevo Boost, which just elongates the battery life. But basically, you can set up 9 different camera angles with this one camera.
So go ahead and switch to a couple here.
Yeah, so I have one preset to like a one shot of me, right? But then I can also, here on my iPad, tap over and have a one shot of Bryan, or I can go back to my 2-shot. It's a really cool service. You can stream with it. You can record straight to the micro SD that's in the back of the camera.
Which is what we're doing.
Yeah, and with that, I literally take that, download it into Premiere. It has like a fisheye, much like a GoPro, and I just put a GoPro filter on it to kind of level out the fisheye-ness, and that's pretty much it. I would say the biggest thing we found with using the Mevo, though, is having a good light drastically makes the footage look better. If it's dark, not a lot of light, the blacks tend to get super grainy.
And I mean, it's got to be really bright.
Yeah.
From what we found. Like, we tried it when we did it at our last mastermind, we did it outdoors. It looked beautiful. When we did it in Kyle's office, which actually has a nice big window that gets natural light in it, I would not call his office dark.
Yeah.
It's not dark to the eye, but to this camera, it was really kind of struggling.
Yeah. But with that, we just took the one light, bounced it off the wall.
Well, we've been doing the direct light with the
direct light now, yeah.
We got a large ring light for, I don't know how much, $150, somewhere in there, that we used for a photo booth kind of setup thing for a company party. And so now we're just using that. Here, again, we're using our studio lighting, which is different. But like Tom said, the great thing about the Mevo is, or having light really brings it better quality. Another thing about the Mevo Boost, not only does it elongate the battery life, but it has a Ethernet out, or in, I guess, Ethernet in. Mm-hmm. So if you're in an area, if you're doing streaming, you can get really faster speeds than just doing the Wi-Fi. We use the SD card and take that out and use the audio from the podcast. So that way we have good video and good audio when we put it up on YouTube.
Speaking of that, so as you can see, we no longer use the Blue Yeti. I think after a while, Kyle kind of was just like, no, I think we're going to do this. So he bit the bullet and got us some nice gear. So we have the Rodecaster.
I think it's the Podcaster.
Yeah, the Podcaster. And I love this board. This board's sick. So it has 4 inputs here, right? So for your microphones, you have 4 output jacks for headphones, so your people can listen. You got your controls here, which are basic, right? There's no knobs or it's all just one gain.
Volume.
But the one thing I like over here too is like you can have Bluetooth, so you can have a phone call come in. You can have a phone directly attached to it if you want to have a phone call that way. And then you also have USB output or input, so you can also control, like say, a Skype call or something coming in that way. Then over here on this side, we have pre-programmed sounds, and you can also upload your own sounds, so you can have different sound bites playing during your show.
Which we need to do that.
We need.
We're already running late.
Yeah.
I want to go through the default settings on the mic. Okay, first, how much was this Rode podcast? I think it's the Podcaster.
It's like the Podcaster Pro.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It came with this, 4 pairs of...
No, it came with this, 2 microphones, stands, and the 2 headphones.
It didn't come with the pop filter. So Kyle bought basically 2 more of everything else.
Right.
But with that, basically this setup minus this pop filter here, it's about $900.
Yeah, I think we got it on sale.
Okay.
Which, because like looking at it, I was like, oh, there's, or maybe I think it was on sale, because there was one where it was
Kyle
definitely
he
like,
likes to buy things on.
Yeah, there's definitely
Friday.
one that was like $1,200, but I think with that one you got like a couple more mics too.
Yeah, so I think $800 to $1,000 is this kind of setup.
Mm-hmm.
So not cheap, but it works really great. But I do want to get into setting real quick.
Okay.
When we first got it, they were, and I don't know the terms, but basically it picked up everything really,
It was
really well.
cardioid. So the microphones, right? Let's go into it. So another thing I really like, I hate saying this, but it's idiot proof, if that makes sense. Like if you have basic understanding of microphones,
Which Kyle and I did not.
yeah, and it takes everything you kind of know, but like dumbs it down. So there's a lot of stuff you can't tweak. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Fine tune, like
It's
to
kind
the
of like
T.
it's kind of like almost iPhone versus Android.
Exactly,
right?
right. Like it's instead of like being different, all these different settings, it's just everything's under one button. But with you can go into like advanced settings. So I think it literally had it. I can't find it. Oh no, that's what it is. So had it as like a dynamic.
Okay, which picked up everything.
Which was picking up everything, but then we can change it to our condenser, which, as you can see, like, I don't know. If I stop talking, you can't hear it, but you don't hear the room tone as much.
Yeah, and so also the other thing is when I move off of the mic, you're not going to hear me. So as I come over here, you can't hear me anything
Right.
at all, right? And so the nice thing about this is it's really directional. It picks up you. The Blue Yeti picked up a lot more room noise, and now with that setting turned on, this is super clean. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about audio. We talked about a little bit about distribution. We talked about gear. We talked about where we started. We talked about where we're at now. We talked about
The stuffs.
that should be. If you do have questions, put it in the comments below. I'd love to go more in depth if you want us to do a more in depth. I think what I want to do this year with YouTube is go more in with kind of tutorials on our YouTube channel. So,
Yeah, on how we do everything.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, we're kind of going over time, but like we just had a meeting with one of our agents who wants to do a podcast, and we're like, oh, we're like, we can do all this, but literally, he's like, okay, I don't think it's going to work for me to start out. So we literally were like, well, just get a Blue Yeti. You have a laptop, get a webcam,
Yep.
and there you have a portable studio. Like, so I think we always refer to that, right? When people are like, I want to get into video, so what lights do I need or what camera? And we always refer to like the phone. Like it's the same with podcasting. You don't need the board and all stuff. You can literally get a Blue Yeti and a laptop or voice memos.
yeah.
There's plenty of podcasts that are out there that use voice memos.
All right. Last thing before we go into our widget. You have a goal for how many downloads you want?
Yeah. I really want to achieve the goal.
Okay.
Realistically, probably won't do it by April, but
Okay.
but 2020, I want to achieve it. I want to have 25,000 downloads total.
Okay.
For the show.
So the way we do that is we get more reviews. Mm-hmm. We draw more attention to the podcast.
Yep.
And you, if you're listening, if you can share it with a friend. We've done a bunch of different subjects. And so if you find something you like, share it with your friend so that way they can hear it too.
Yeah.
Easy.
Dope.
All right. You ready to transition?
Yeah.
All right, so now we are on to our Whissel Widget of the week. Each week, we like to spotlight a tool, a service, a gadget, a gizmo, basically a widget that we use that we want to share with you to make your life easier, better, more fun, whatever. That seems about right.
That seems about right.
All right, so Kyle always makes me go first, so I'm going to make you go first. Tom, what is your Whissel Widget of the week?
Okay, 1 second. I'm grabbing it.
Those that are watching on YouTube, you can see it.
All right. So my widget is, I can't remember the actual name of the bag, and I know it's horrible, but it's made by Lowpro. used by one of my favorite YouTubers, Peter McKinnon. Actually, I don't know if he still uses it, but I love it. And it's just a little camera bag that goes inside of my camera bag. And I know that sounds weird. I did it wrong. I was supposed to...
That's fine. I'm going to do it right.
It's my first time. It's my first time, guys. Don't. But it's really cool. So basically, it's a camera. It's a bag that's a camera bag, but goes inside my bigger camera bag. And what I use it for, what I really love it for, is what I call gubbins. So all the little stuffs that don't have a place, you just kind of toss in.
Basically, it's your purse.
Yeah.
Men don't have purses. Photographers typically don't have purses. But this is basically your purse.
Yeah.
You throw all your stuff.
And it's great. Like, if you look at it, so like I said, normally for like a mirrorless camera or something, but I use it to organize my batteries, my memory cards. Up here I got all my wires and things I need for my cameras or charging cables. And then up here I have some zip ties because sometimes you just need zip ties.
Do you have gaffer's tape in there?
I have gaffer's tape in my bag.
Okay.
Proper.
So I have the same thing. I use a lot of, mostly for my charging stuff.
Yeah.
So if I have all the cables with all different connectors, so if my phone or any of my tools batteries die, I can plug them in.
Yeah, and it's great. Like, it's all contained in this little thing. You slide it into your camera bag or whatever. If you need something, you just pop it out. I have 2 of them, so I can slide it. And that one I use for little lights and stuff I carry, and I can pop that in. So it's just nice to have dedicated bags for different things, and you grab depending on what projects you have. And that's my widget. It's a cool little low pro camera bag, and I'll put a link in the description.
Cool. So my widget is a tool that will allow you to use different parts of your computer depending on the program by having more of a tactile feel. We're used to the mouse and keyboard, but there's some things that I find I do better with having a more tactile feel. And I think you can see it on the table here. It's called the palette gear. Oh, it's magnetized.
Yeah.
Well, it's right here. It's called the palette gear. And what it is, it's a series of sliders and dials and buttons that I can use with different programs to make my workflow easier. So, for example, when I'm editing video, I have these dials here dedicated for my color correction. I have when I'm using Internet or Chrome, I have this set for my computer volume, this dial, and then I have buttons for open new tabs, play, stop, stuff like that. So this is a really cool tool. It was more of a want than a need, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I found it, and I was like, I'll check out this really cool thing.
And I think the first words I said to you were, "Don't show it to me."
I showed it to you, and then you ended up getting it, and I didn't because I was like, I can't afford it.
Yeah. So it's not cheap, but it's really cool. It definitely does help. I use it the most when I use color correcting. So I can use this one. I mean, if you really want to know, this is my blacks, this is my whites, this is my shadows, this is my highlights, exposure, and vibrance is how I have it kind of set up. So I can do that all with my knobs and sliders rather than going through and mouse and clicking. Cool.
We made it.
A little long on this one.
A little long.
If you guys like this, if you want to share it with your friends, cool. If you want to leave a review, cool. If you want more information like this, see past episodes, see our YouTube channel, which is really going to get popping in 2020. Or check out our Facebook group. Go to thewhisselway.com. It's a landing page that can direct you to all those things. Anything that we want you to know about, we will put on there. So thanks so much for watching. We will catch you next week on The Whissel Way.
Wait. Before you leave, I want to share some more tips and tricks that we're using in our business to take it to that next level. Just click right here. And don't forget to subscribe. Click right here.